If you're an introvert, you probably know this feeling. You walk into a room, maybe it's a party, a networking event, or even just the break room at work, and the thought of initiating small talk makes your stomach do a little flip. The idea of striking up a conversation with someone you don't know, just about nothing in particular, can feel utterly exhausting. You might stand there, phone in hand, pretending to be busy, wishing you had a superpower that made you invisible, or at least gave you a script. Well, I can't promise invisibility, but I can give you a script. Today, we're tackling the Everest of introverted fears, small talk. But we're going to break it down, truthfully and simply, into 3 actionable low-pressure conversation starters that actually work. These aren't just generic tips. They're specifically designed to leverage introverted strengths and minimize the awkwardness we all dread. Ready to make small talk a little less terrifying and maybe even a little interesting? Let's dive in. First, let's acknowledge something important. Small talk isn't about deep connection. It's about connection prelude. Think of it like the warm-up stretches before a workout. You wouldn't jump straight into heavy lifting, right? Small talk is that gentle stretching, testing the waters, signaling that you're open to interaction. And for introverts, this signal is crucial because we often get misinterpreted as aloof or disinterested, when in reality, we're just processing. The goal isn't to become the life of the party. The goal is simply to initiate a friendly exchange without feeling completely drained or awkward. And the best way to do that is with conversation starters that feel natural, invite participation, and don't put you on the spot for a performance. Our first conversation starter is what I call the observational opener. This is your secret weapon because it doesn't require you to invent something out of thin air. You're simply commenting on something external, something you both share in that moment. Here's why it works so well for introverts. 1. Low pressure. You're not talking about yourself or asking probing questions. You're just noticing something. 2. Shared reality. It immediately creates common ground because you're both experiencing the same environment. 3. Easy entry point. It gives the other person an obvious way to respond. They can agree, disagree, add more information, or ask you a follow-up. Look around you. What's happening? What's interesting? What do you notice? Are you at a conference? This keynote speaker is really engaging, isn't she? At a party? I love the music they're playing. It really sets a nice mood. Or, if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, that's an interesting piece of art over there. Have you had a chance to look at it? In a waiting room. The rain really came down this morning, didn't it? At a networking event with food. These appetizers are surprisingly good. Have you tried the mini quiches? The key here is to make it a statement that invites a response, not a yes, no question. Instead of, is the keynote speaker good? Try, this keynote speaker is really engaging, isn't she? The isn't she? Or don't you think? Invites agreement and an easy way for them to chime in. Pro tip: make your observation neutral or slightly positive. Avoid anything negative or controversial as a starter. We're building bridges, not burning them. Let's try one more example. You're at a coffee shop. You could say, "Wow, it's really busy in here today. I guess everyone needed their caffeine fix." Most people will nod, maybe chuckle, and perhaps even share their own reason for being there. Boom. Small talk initiated without pain. Our second conversation starter builds on the first, but adds a gentle question. The contextual question. This is perfect when you know why you're both in the same place and you want to leverage that shared purpose. It allows you to ask a question that's relevant to the situation, making it feel less random and more natural. Why it works for introverts? 1. Clear purpose. The question has an obvious reason for being asked, reducing the pressure on you to be witty. 2. Focused topic. It steers the conversation to a specific, safe subject, avoiding open-ended, tell me about yourself traps. 3. Shows interest. It subtly signals that you're engaged with the event or situation and curious about others. How to use it. Think about the why. Why are you both here? At a professional workshop, what brings you to this particular session today? Or have you attended this conference before? At a friend's party, how do you know the host's name? This is a classic for a reason. It almost always leads to a story. Waiting for a concert to start. Are you familiar with this band's earlier stuff? Or is this your first time seeing them live? At a volunteer event, what motivated you to volunteer for this cause? Notice these aren't interrogation questions. They're open-ended enough to invite a short explanation, but not so broad that the other person feels overwhelmed. They provide a clear avenue for them to share a little bit about themselves or their connection to the event without feeling like they're being put on the spot. Example, you're at a book club meeting. Instead of just sitting quietly, you could turn to the person next to you and say, "I'm really interested to hear everyone's take on this month's book. What were your initial thoughts after finishing it?" It's relevant. It's about the shared activity, and it immediately gives them something to talk about. Our third and final conversation starter is the gentle recommendation request. This is my personal favorite for introverts because it allows you to both give and receive information in a non-demanding way. It's about sharing a little bit of helpful knowledge or asking for a tiny piece of assistance or advice. Why it works for introverts. Builds rapport. Offering a helpful tip or asking for a small favor creates an immediate sense of connection and reciprocity. Less direct eye contact pressure. Often you're looking at something else, a menu, a map, a program while making the suggestion or request, which can ease the intensity. Practical and problem solving. Introverts often appreciate practical solutions, and this starter taps into that. How to use it. The gentle recommendation. You've discovered something useful or pleasant. Share it. At a new restaurant, I just tried the roasted vegetables. They're surprisingly good if you're looking for something light. At a festival, I noticed there's a great little coffee stand around the corner if you need a pick-me-up. At work, I found a really helpful shortcut for that new software. Want me to show you sometime? This is more of a follow-up, but the initial "I found a shortcut" can be the opener. The gentle request. You need a tiny bit of non-personal information or advice. At a conference, "Excuse me, do you know where the breakout session for future trends is being held?" At a museum, "Have you been to this exhibit before? I'm trying to decide if I should start here or go to the modern art section first." At a social gathering, the appetizers look amazing. Have you tried anything you'd particularly recommend? The beauty of the gentle request is that it's low stakes. If they don't know, no big deal. If they do, you've got an answer and a potential conversational thread. It's a natural way to invite interaction without having to perform or share personal details immediately. Example, you're at a large social gathering. You see someone standing near a drinks table. You could approach and say, "Hi, I'm your name. This is my first time at one of these events. So I was just wondering if there's a signature drink or anything I should definitely try." They can then point you in the right direction, maybe introduce themselves, and boom, you're in a conversation. So, there you have them. The observational opener, the contextual question, the gentle recommendation request. These three strategies give you a toolkit to approach small talk with more confidence and less anxiety. Remember, the goal isn't to be a chatty extrovert. It's to be a confident introvert who can navigate social situations on your own terms. A few final truths to keep in mind. It's okay if a conversation doesn't go anywhere. Not every interaction needs to lead to a lifelong friendship. Sometimes, small talk is just a pleasant hello, and then you move on. That's totally fine. Practice makes progress, not perfection. The more you try these, the more natural they'll feel. Start small, maybe with just one new person at your next social event. Your introverted strengths are assets. Your thoughtfulness, your ability to observe, your genuine curiosity. These are all excellent qualities for conversation. You just need the right entry points. It's okay to excuse yourself. If a conversation runs its course or you feel your energy dipping, it's perfectly acceptable to say, "It was really nice chatting with you." I'm just going to grab another drink or enjoy the rest of the event. Small talk doesn't have to be a barrier. It can be a gentle handshake, a way to signal your presence. And sometimes, just sometimes, it might even lead to a truly meaningful connection. And that, truthfully, is pretty simple. Thank you so much for joining me today on Truthfully Simple. If you found these tips helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments below which of these starters you're going to try first. And remember, your voice matters, even if it's a quiet one. Till next time, keep it truthful, keep it simple, and keep communicating.